Welcome back, everyone. So today in this episode we are going to be dealing with all of the shadows that we see in our reference material. So let me bring that up for you again so we can look at this snake together. So basically we have a beautiful shadow under the eye here on the left. We have some deeper shadows over the area underneath the mouth, and that's really going to give us beautiful contrast when we put in the tongue at the last stage of this painting. We have some shadows that we can add specifically in this internal area. That's going to really give us a lot of depth over here. And then at the bottom of every part of the snake. So I thought now would be a good time to do some shadow work and to bring that in before we put in the beautiful crystals on the side. Right, so for this session I am going to be using my Payne's Grey, and the reason for that is Payne's Grey is a translucent color, so it gives you all the depth of a black, but it gives you the translucency that we need in order to not cover up everything that we have already done. Now if you don't have Payne's Grey, you can use black, but do dilute it with a bit of water and a bit of acrylic medium so that you have a bit of translucency to your favor, but that you still have a nice binding with your paint, because you're going to have to dilute it a bit in order to have some translucency. So maybe just do a test on the side before you do that. Now I'm going to be using my number 8 filbert. Now again, just look at the size of your artwork. We need to be able to work in a very small zone, like under the eye. So if your brush is too big, you see how hard that is going to be. And if your brush is too small, it's going to take you forever to get that done, and you might have to really scrub the color in order to get a nice blend. So choose the brush for the task in order to make your life a little bit easier, and you will find that you get better results that way. Okay, so my air conditioner is running. It's nice and warm here in South Africa today. It's very humid here in Pretoria. It almost feels like I'm at the coast. So my paint might dry out fast on me. So I've got my water spritzer here, and I'm just going to add some water. I'm going to activate my brush and just get the clean water in the right place. How are you guys doing? It is so exciting as we begin to approach the end of this particular, what shall we call it? Spirit animal guide painting. And I think it's quite good. I've learned so much, and I'm still learning so much from this whole experience. And I'm very glad that we jumped into this snake tutorial. It really helped me a lot. Right. Now, you can see that your Payne's Grey has a blue bias, which is also really helpful for shadows, because everything in shadow will be cooler than anything that is standing in the light. So color temperature in your colors is just as important. Now I've added quite a bit of water here, and I'm just testing here on my tissue paper to see how gray that will be. Right, so let's start in a safe space. I always think a safe space to start is a good thing to do. Let's do this area underneath the neck, and literally you can do this in stages, meaning you can you can do it in more than one layer. So I would suggest that you do one layer first of your Payne's grey, and you will paint this over everything and then let it dry, and then you can decide if that area needs another coat. Can you see how much dimension that is already bringing to this section? Now I must admit it is rather thin, but let's roll with it. We can always make it a bit darker. Maybe there's too much water. Yes, that feels a little bit better to me. So now carefully go underneath the mouth and let's bring in a little bit of shadow. Yes, we like the drama. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. Now let's work this Payne's grey around this line that is around this throat area. Let's just blend that in a little bit, soften it a little bit like so. Oh, I love this dramatic shadow effect. That's really nice. Cool. Okay, let's jump down to this area where the amethyst bottle is sitting. So this shadow is quite pronounced. Be careful around the outline of your bottle. Now I noticed that it's quite dark there, coming in with a nice bend and connect with the top line of the snake body. Give it a nice, almost like a C shape, and connect with the bottle. Let's do the same on the other side. This is going to go quick, people. This is going to go quick. Again, let's fill in that little dam. Pay close attention to where your shadow is sitting, tightly against that outline of the glass bottle. Careful not to break that straight line. And now we have an opposite D shape. We can always just use our finger to just soften that outline a little bit so it's not so hard. Nice. Kidoki. Let's jump down to the very middle part here at the bottom. Again, pay close attention to this separation line and work in. Let's add a bit of water. That shadow line. Same on the other side. So you can see I start sort of with a flat side of the brush and then I lean into the broad side of the brush. I'm going to rinse my brush so that it's just got clean water on it, and then I'm going to just blend the top connection point of that shadow line into the top part so that you get a nice balayage from deep and intense and it fades into the light. So you can see how that's giving a lot of volume and dimension to the shape that we've been painting here. Right, let's go down to the bottom part. Same, come around the corner, quite intense. and give it a nice shadow. Rinse your brush, get some water, not too much, just enough to blend that shadow line into the water. It's so dramatic, it's a lot of fun. I love putting in shadows like this. Let's get in a little bit more paint. Beautiful. And anywhere that you feel the line is just too hard, just play with a wet brush and just blend it in a little bit. Now I feel that these little holes in the middle can be quite dark, so I'm going to go into a little bit more of a concentrated version of my paint. Let's work on that middle groove a little bit. You can always bring that highlight forward again if you do go over it. That's feeling good, but I do feel this shadow is quite intense, so I'm going to go ahead and add some more. Oh my word. You can see it does easily happen, but it's not the end of the world. You're in control. Let's deepen this little shape as well, quite intensely. Profound. Love that. Right. I think that's good. Now don't fiddle too much with it like I am right now. I went over my line a little bit here. So I'm just rinsing my brush, and I'm using a brush that's just got clean water on it, and I can just scrub the wet paint away that I don't want. So if you do go over your line and you go, oh shucks, I've now covered it all up, just use a wet brush. Remember, all the layers underneath is dry, so it's not going to go anywhere. And then you can clean up anything that you want to clean up. I just want to soften that line a little bit. Nice. Smoky. Smoky is what we are looking for. I'm quite happy with that. Now, there's another shadow that I want to bring in a little bit, and it's into the nebula just behind the snake. And I think that's going to really soften that. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to turn my canvas around. It's just going to be easier to work from the opposite side. So let me move this forward. Wow, it's amazing how the colors pop now, right? Okay, so very lightly I'm just going to come in and just bring in a little bit of contrast here between the snake's body and the nebula, and I'm just going to blend this out. very lightly work into the nebula a little bit, just to bring in a little bit of contrast. I think that's great. Let's do the same on the other side. Just a little bit of separation and contrast. I'm going to rinse my brush to just blend this little bit into the nebula. That's nice. That's just a wet brush, people. Awesome. Let's see. I'm going to turn it back around. Oh, I love this drama. It's lovely. Okie dokie. Now we need a little bit of a shadow underneath this left eye. So let's go ahead, add some water here. Maybe a bit more paint. I'm going to take some of the water out of my brush. It's a very small little zone. So it's just underneath the eye here. And sort of in between these scales a little bit. And I see a little bit of a shadow in this crease here, connecting some of these lines a little bit. It's very translucent, very soft, but it really helps a lot. A little bit more under the eye and under the nose. That's feeling good. Let's look at this eye, maybe in the front of the eye here a little bit. Not a lot, because this side is in the light. And I'm gonna just add the shadow next to the tongue area already. Then it's there, because the tongue is gonna sit here. I'm gonna blend that in a little bit lower. Awesome. That's really profound. Let's look at the glass bottle. I think this part of the cork can go a little bit darker still. And then a little bit in the bottle. Now let's turn the canvas around again. It's just easier to work away from a line, because I don't want to interrupt any of the highlights there. But there is a little bit of a shadow there. Just blend that in a little bit, strengthening the shadow in that core bit there. It just gives the bottle some grounded presence. Let's turn it around again. That is so powerful. I absolutely love this. I'm quite happy with the shadow work for now. Let's look, there's one little bit. Where's that small brush that I have? I'm just noticing a little bit of a shadow on the glass here. It's really a minute detail, and next to that highlight. Just helps to ground that cork a little bit. It's small little details, but it can make a big impact on your painting. And I feel like this corner is also a little bit darker. Yes. This corner also a little bit darker. And here's a little bit of a shadow. And then underneath this surface line here is also a little bit of a shadow. I'm going to add a little bit of a line just there. It's magical. Shadows and highlights sometimes tell the whole story that you see and that we try to capture with color, but it really comes to life afterwards. I'm going to dive into a little bit of a stronger mixture of the grey, Payne's grey, to just define this shape here a little bit under the eye. A little bit of a better eye socket, I feel. Yes. It feels a little bit more dramatic. Drama. We love the drama. It's just so much fun to paint with contrast. Spectacular, spectacular. This mouth line again. Because it's such a thin detail. The lines feel a little bit more pronounced here, closer to the front. I guess that is it, people. I just wanted to capture the shadows today. I don't want this to be a complicated step. I just wanted it to be simple and most impactful, because now it really grounds everything. And our final session is going to go about these beautiful amethyst crystals, and I'll talk a little bit about why I chose amethyst specifically for the year of the snake. But we'll dive into that in the next section. So get your shadows in. Don't be scared of those. It really makes everything come alive. So I'll see you in our next session, and then we'll get into our beautiful crystals. I'll see you then. Bye bye for now.